Hello students, I just wanted to make a short video using what we call the empirical rule, and I know that some people have some problems with it, so I want to make this so that you can understand what's going on. This is a problem that says scores of an IQ test have a bell-shaped distribution with a mean of 100 and a standard deviation of 15. Use the empirical rule to determine the following, and it gives you some things. So the first two pieces that it gives you is the mean and the standard deviation, and it tells you to use the empirical rule. Well, in your course information, let me see if I can find this. Let me find it. I think I can pull this up. Under course information, notice that's located right here. There's a thing that says formula sheet, and when you pull that formula sheet up, let me see if I still have it pulled up. I don't think I do. Let me click on it, see if I can get it open. Yes, when you pull up the formula sheet, it looks like this. The very first thing it gives you is the empirical rule, and it gives you all the percentages. So what I did, I cut this. I did a snip, and let's see if I can find it now. There it is. I snipped this out and used the problem to show you how to go about coming up with your values. So I'm going to pull up my calculator first. Let me do this. I'm going to move the calculator over here, and I'm going to show you how to do this. So first of all, the mean was 100. So on the calculator, let me see if I can do this. I'm trying to hold this and type at the same time. You're going to take 100 and you're going to add the standard deviation, which is 15. And then you're going to add another standard deviation. And notice you get 130. I'm going to add another standard deviation. I get 145. And finally I add the third one. No, I don't. I don't add anything. We only do 3 of those. So we're doing 115, 130, and 145. So on my bell-shaped curve, in the middle is the mean. That's the 100. And then notice when I add a standard deviation, I get 115. So I'm going to write that under the mark that says the mean plus the standard deviation. You can see right here. Okay, then I'm going to do the next one. Notice the next one I add a standard deviations 130 and then 145. So I'm labeling my points. Now, to get the ones after or before 100, I have to use subtraction. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to clear my calculator. And I'm going to do 100 minus 15. And I'm going to do minus 15. And then minus, I forgot that. Then minus, let me see, let me hit clear. I'm trying to do this and hold it at the same time. Hold on just a second. Here's a clear button here. Clear. There we go. So then I'm going to hit minus 15 again. Okay, so what I did, I took 100 and subtracted off a standard deviation, subtracted off another one, subtract off another one. So that's what we're going to place on our bell-shaped curve. We place 85, 70, and 55 under each one. Now, what happens is the empirical rule allows us to look at some things. So let me see if I can get this to work. Between a 1 standard deviation, notice that's this, a negative 1 standard deviation and a 1 standard deviation, we end up with 68% of our values. This is 68%. Whoops. Okay, percent. Okay, the next one, notice from negative 2 to positive 2, this is one of the most important values. Negative 2 to positive 2 will be from here over. These are said to be usual values. That's from the negative 2 up to the positive 2. What happens is 95% of our values are within 2 standard deviations. That's a 95%. It's kind of hard to see. Let me see if I can make this larger where we can see. There's 95. There we go. So 95% is between 2 standard deviations. And finally, 3 standard deviations, which is right here. There's 3. And down here on this end is 3. We go from 3 standard deviation, negative 3 to positive 3. We get 99.7% of our values. That's the empirical rule. Now what happens is between each of these standard deviations, notice they have broken down the percentages. So like on our first question, let me move my calculator out of the way. Our first question asks us, what percentage of people has an IQ between 55 and 145? So I'm going to come over here. Notice here is 55. Let me move my calculator back. And they said 55 to 145. Well, when you look at 55 to 145, that's a -3 standard deviations up to a +3. Well, I just told you -3 to +3 is 99.7. What you could do to find this is you could add, do not add the 0.15, that's before 55. You would add all these values between these two numbers except for the 0.15 because that's outside. So if you add those up, you get 99.7. So that's the answer on the first one. Now, the next one said, what percentage of people has an IQ score less than 70 or greater than 130? So let's go back and look at less than 70, and we're going to add those on our calculator. Okay, so less than 70 is going to be the 2.35 and the 0.15. So on my calculator, I am going to add those. If I can get this to work, what am I looking for? 2.35 plus 0.15. That is the area that is less than 70. The other thing the problem said is or greater than 130. What that means is I'm going to add everything that's greater than 130. So if I look at the greater than 130, notice it's also 2.35 plus 0.15. So all I have to do is double the one that I have on the calculator. So I'm going to hit times 2. And notice I get 5%, and that's my answer for this, 5%. Okay, the next one said, what percentage of people has an IQ score greater than 145? Well, you come and find 145. Here's 145, and greater would be this percentage, 0.15. So that's how you go about using the empirical rule. Now, if it asks you to tell the values that are 68% of values, what values are they between 68%? We would come back and notice 68% would be the -1 standard deviation to a positive, so we would look at 85 up to 115 if they ask us that. Or if they said what values are 95% of the values between, then we would come and look at 2 standard deviations, which is the 70 up to 130. Hope this helps. I was trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, the formula sheet will be given to you on the test. Someone was asking me, do you have to do standard deviation by hand on every problem? No, only one problem. What I want to do, let me see if I can find a homework problem. I tell you what, I will do another short video for standard deviation.